Hello and welcome to a new Civ Deity game here with me, Adrenaline. Today we're going to do a culture victory with Kupe. And we start with deity settings, online speed as per usual, and the Terra Map. Of course, with Kupe, we start in the water, and I've already made our way to our nearest land here. Now, the cool thing about the Terra Map is it makes every single AI opponent start on the same map. You're also supposed to be starting on the same map, but if you're Kupe and you choose, maybe with a little bit of luck, to go somewhere else, you can effectively say goodbye to any form of challenge to any land you may obtain. Because you go to a secondary continent where nobody else has landed, apart from maybe city-states. It's no surprise, even with the fact that you start in such strange terrain, aka the ocean, that Kupe is such a unique civ. There are things I don't particularly like about Kupe, but there are certainly ways to exploit his strengths. He is a really good culture civ. He has a lot of tools to his advantage. He makes more benefit out of production of natural tiles, but he doesn't allow you to chop for any sort of particular resource. These things will be here till the end of time unless I was to settle on them. He has a specialist building in the Maori, which also helps with the natural features to benefit your culture, but on the flip side, he can't earn great riders. He is kind of a very unusual civ to wield, but with the benefits that you get from it, can be very strong. Speaking of, since we're going for a game which is going to treasure our landscape, the pantheon we're going to be going for this game is undoubtedly going to be Earth Goddess, because we fully expect to be able to make an awful lot of land breathtaking. Currently, our map is pretty reasonable from what we've already explored, especially down the south here, for charming if not breathtaking tiles. So we'll already be able to make immediate advantage of some of this. It will continue to scale as the game goes on. Welcome back, and you join us on turn 24 as we're about to build the elusive but highly powerful Oracle. I usually don't bother building this wonder because I usually find that the AI tends to prioritize it much more highly than I do. I do really like the Oracle. I think it's a really cool wonder, but given that I'm trying to get religion, and it is along the way to get the religion and mysticism, to get the pantheon boost. It has to kind of like fall in line with me getting an early mysticism so that I can start building on it and not have to necessarily build a holy site or holy site prayers to prioritize the religion first. And it is arguably one of the wonders that goes away quickest, with maybe exception to the pyramids for the most highly sought after by the AI.
I sprang upon the swift ship in the form of a dolphin. Pray to me as Apollo Delphinius. Also the altar itself shall be called Delphinius and overlooked forever.
Ah yes, every time I build this wonder, I remember how much it's obsessed with dolphins and Delphinius. But hey, there it is. It's a nice start. Hopefully we can make use of it. Of course, as beautiful as it is to have land all the way to yourself, one of the biggest problems when that happens is how barbs keep spawning wherever you want to settle. Like literally on this tile is where I was going to settle one of the cities, and I'm going to plan on settling here first because I can't possibly put myself here yet. However, we have entered the stage where we want to finally make our religion. We have already acquired a prophet, a great prophet, and we're about to build this shrine. We haven't built the shrine yet because we're focused on doing great holy prayers, holy site prayers first. So, usually, we are the first religion, by the way. I like to call it barrelism, but today, we're gonna call it something a little more relevant to our game itself, the Kupe de Grace, or Kupe de Grace. We're gonna go with our usual of reliquaries and try to benefit from extraordinary amounts of faith and tourism from all manner of apostles dying, and of course Holy Order to make sure that we can get enough of them. some era score for getting there first. And now we just need to know where everybody else is. Turn 74 now, and we're into the mid-game. We've established a few cities, we've been able to deal with the immediate barbarian pressure, but as always, there's always more barbs, especially when there's so much land that hasn't been taken by anybody else. So we still have some problems, and new barbarian camps are being spawned every other minute. However, what I want to show particularly is just how suzerain city-states can be almost like a domino effect. And while the opportunity in the situation may not always be present, because in effect, the only way I get 9 envoys here is by having incidentally not seen any other city-state by like this sort of timeline. And therefore getting the first envoy for the first meet as well, because nobody else is here. It's a pretty cool way of generating both era score and map vision. So there goes the first one. Lo and behold, it allows us to not only see more map, but find Bologna. Bologna is also a first meet. So then if we add 2 more here, you heard probably a bob camp sound. There's another bob camp to be found. And look, that has allowed us to find both Preslav and Candy. I want Candy. So let's put 2 more in Candy. That allows us to see even more map. And also with Preslav, we have just a little bit left. And all that era score and all those finds has vastly increased our map vision, as you can see. We now can see all of this. Look how much is empty and open for us to expand and explore through. Albeit there are all sorts of bob frets. It's quite a fun way of exploring the map. Welcome back. You join us as we are in the middle of a golden age, and we've been using it to try and settle as much as we can. Honestly, we're a little gluttonous, as in the amount of land there is to be able to settle is way exceeding our ability to even do so. Even having had a monumentality golden age is not enough. However, we can at least settle 1 more city around here. I do like coastal cities. Perhaps I should be prioritizing some more cities down south here on more Greenland. That might be a little healthier before settling up to the north. But especially with Kupe's ability in sailing and such, it seems much easier to travel, much faster. You can get far further just going in 1 or 2 turns to go from here to here along the coast. Also, we're about to make ourselves 2 more important wonders for our culture victory. Both the Casta Constracion, which can help us with our government titles, as well as Hagia Sophia here, which will not only help make our settlement for the theater square tile that much more lucrative, but it's a nice faith boost to our overall faith economy, which is not doing too badly. And remember, faith is going to be used for all those national parks, so it's not a bad one to get either. Also, you've noticed that perhaps we've met by now all the other civilizations, and as you can see, they're all scrambling for land on the other continent. Which is really funny. It's the opposite problem to what we have, effectively, although, of course, I'd much rather be in our situation. Unfortunately, we did end up going in a war with Eleanor, but this is mainly because of our military alliance. I didn't actually choose to have war, but this does happen. Be wary of it. It's important to have alliances, especially in a culture game, because you want to make sure that tourism grows as much as possible, but this is definitely a possibility. Sometimes it's nice to be able to, of course we can just make peace, because we never were really at war. But you will find that if I try asking for any more, it won't make any difference. But just something to bear in mind. It's obnoxious and it's a bit silly that you can get involved in certain problems by having alliances, but they do exist.
It is a beautiful and important monument, and an international intercultural treasure. Unless and until it can be shared by both religions in harmony, which would be a grand idea, it should remain a secular building, honoring both religions who have made it beautiful. All other lands found on the western side of the boundary shall belong to the King and Queen of Castile and their successors.
So there you go, making some nice progress in our culture game here. So here we are in the mid-game of this culture victory with Kupe, and lo and behold, our sweet Eleanor is up to her old tricks again. Because poor Tomyris never dies, except for this game. Because our dear ally is down to 1 city remaining. If we go to her trades, we can see that she literally has nothing but 1 city, because otherwise she would have cities to trade. That's how that works. That's why you usually don't see their cap if they have a bunch, because that's the one they don't want to trade the least, of course. Because domination victory would be too easy then. And yeah, if we look at our loyalty lens, you can see that it's almost full red with rebellion in a single turn. Pretty gnarly to always, you know, whenever you're, especially in AI, located adjacent to Eleanor and her cultural campaign. I mean, we're going to be winning the culture war, but she certainly won this battle with Tomyris. Let's put it that way. Holy hell. So salute as we say goodbye and bid farewell to our friend Tomyris. There it goes. And she's been vanquished from the list. Only 6 remain. It's a brutal, cutthroat world out there. Mid-late game here now, and we have our sweet homes. Because Arabia has decided to sell right here, and we now finally been able to take their city. I was saying earlier about how gluttonous we were for how much land is available. Which is the beauty of being on a Terra map, that you get to pick which continent you're on. The one nobody else is. Arabia's finally decided to try and join us. They even have another settler. Look, they're gonna put another settler here? I mean, I'm more than happily take their city. I have been busy trying to win a culture game. I have been busy trying to both use gold and production to make a whole variety of different things, including theater squares, wonders, and so on. There's no way in hell I'm just gonna be sitting there twiddling my thumbs going, ooh, city number 22, city number 23, city number 24. So, you know, that's just not how you win a game. There are a lot of people that like to say that there's no such thing as too many cities. And, you know, it's nice to have those cities, but everything has a cost. Everything has an opportunity cost, especially in an online speed game. You can't just be sitting there making 100 million cities. Even if you have all this land, you can't just be doing that, because if all you're doing is that, you're not going to win anything. You're not going to be climbing the science tree because you haven't built any campuses or buildings for those campuses or other wonders that can help you, that like Oxford University or anything that helps you win a campus science victory. You're not going to be able to win a culture victory like this because you haven't been building any form of culture or any form of faith by the naturalists. You know, you haven't been building any wonders, you haven't been doing anything, because all you've been doing is spreading. It doesn't matter how much land you have. You can't just be sitting there spending every bit of resource building more and more and more cities. It's just not a thing. I don't know why every single, you know, big streamer or content creator out there seems to think it is a thing or tries to sell to the public that it is a thing. It's not a thing. It's just not. You can't just sit there making 1 million cities. That's not a thing. Just want to get that out there. But, you know, like, Home Sweet Homes in the middle of the desert. It's no surprise that they never grew. They're in the middle of the goddamn desert. I mean, yes, they have a river, but still. However, you know what? We're going to make that a little bit different by getting ourselves a Petra. We have only 2 tiles to work with, but if nobody's building it, this is going to be the latest Petra I've ever seen. I don't know about you. It's like turn 166 or something. So watch this space. We're going to be buying a lot of these tiles, trying to hopefully make the city big enough and healthy enough with a Petra to get it working along for the ride, for the remaining turns before we finish it. Yay! There's our ear score for keeping the city. And off we go. Very latter stages here as we have built our Petra, coming in 1 turn. And we're also building some national parks to help go with it, because I do think these sort of wonders, which like the tiles to be natural as they are, benefit greatly if you can make the appeal of them. As you can see here, we've already built one national park, and we're hoping by deleting this mine here, which has helped build this Petra, that we will be able to build at least another one by promoting this tile to at least a charming level of appeal. The other two are perhaps a little more far-fetched. We did get ourselves Eiffel Tower over here, so that we can buff appeal on tiles. Maybe we can make these things work, but it's probably going to be difficult because you can't really build woods on desert tiles. So trying to find ways of putting things around this. Maybe we can promote Liang, get city parks. Maybe we can do something, but not as straightforward. But this one should be doable once we get rid of this mine. Also, I'd like to talk about our yields. We're having a grand old time here. Because we have 1,000 of culture, and 1,000 of faith, and 1,000 of gold, and almost, well, over 2,000 of tourism. So, very grand. The reason partly is because this game has gone on so long that we've been able to build these economies. But also, why has it been going on so long? Because, god damn it, I have to get over 500 living foreign tourists. That's like the highest I've ever had to in any game. Because Yongla is here, trying to mess with me. Usually over 300 would be fine and we'd be finishing at this point, but looks like this game has a little bit long. But looks like this game has a little bit more to go yet. And here it is, the final moments. You know, this has definitely been the grandest of all Culture Civ Deity games I've had to date. It's the grandest in terms of, you know, the yields that we've gotten, because they're absolutely massive. We're the grandest in terms of the amount of time it's taken. And it's really all because it's the grandest in how many goddamn tourists I needed to acquire. Almost 600 tourists to get over the line. That is extraordinary how big an effort it has been to win this particular game. Like, I'm not usually anything more than 300 maybe. And my fastest of like John Curtin was like 150, I think. Because I've enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed it too. And if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like below, follow the channel, and perhaps leave a comment about what you enjoyed most. See you then.
The worth of a culture is not measured by its accomplishments, but in how those accomplishments last and how they are remembered. The beauty that you have inspired our people to create will ensure that our culture stands for all time.